un aplauso para Carl Calloward de Unity Technologies.
Can I have some light? Okay. Evangelism. Okay. Bienvenidos a Mexico City, Developer Day México. I'm very excited to be here because in 2016 we started Mexico City Developer Day with 250 people. Raise your hand who was here. A big applause for the founding fathers of Developer Day. Because of you, we're always going to come back. Developer Day is about sharing knowledge, making new friendship, to build new games and new experiences. In 2016, we went to 320 people who came from Mexico to this event again. But again, this year, you prove that Mexico is growing. 450 people are here now. What's really great, it's not just Mexico City. People come from far, drive, fly to be here. And you might see the dot from your city, where you're from. But it's not only in Mexico. What we see is that Unity Developer Day is growing around the world. We focus on Latin America. What's really great about Mexico here, it's now an international event. We have people here from Spain, Costa Rica, United States, especially coming to Developer Day Mexico. Now, it's all about learning and sharing knowledge. And that's why I'm very excited that our partners are here to help that. Because they are bringing the platforms to you that you can unleash your game on. Your community can reach now you even on the platforms you post on. But it's also about sharing more knowledge. And that's why I'm excited to introduce Rachel. She will talk more about how we can learn about Unity.
No está funcionando. Hola. Bien. Hola a todos. Muchas gracias por venir. Sí. Sobre todo un sábado durante el fin de semana. Encantada de conocerles. Hola, mejor. Yo soy Rachel. Soy la encargada de partnerships de educación en Unity. Y estoy trabajando en la oficina de San Francisco. Es un placer estar con ustedes. Hoy quiero hablar un poco del equipo de aprendizaje y de educación. Y voy a hacerlo un poco en Spanglish, así que espero que esté bien. Bueno, para nosotros es muy importante dar la oportunidad a todos a convertirse en creadores de tecnología y no solo en consumidores. En Unity creemos que la creatividad viene de todos lados del mundo. Y por eso el equipo de educación intentamos crear contenido a todos los niveles, con certificaciones, con cursos en línea, con entrenamiento en vivo. Y es todo para mejorar sus habilidades en la plataforma de Unity. Bueno, ¿por qué es importante eso? Todo es para el éxito profesional, Para nosotros hemos visto we've seen a huge increase in Unity skills demanded across the world. Actually, LinkedIn's recent survey put Unity as number 7 in the top emerging positions. And we've seen through research, through job databases, that Unity developers can earn up to $20,000 more than counterparts who don't have Unity skills. And in comparison to machine learning, AI, digital marketing, Unity is seen as growing 35% year over year. So how do you get started on the learning journey? Well, we try to provide courses across the board, wherever you are in your learning journey, whether you're a complete beginner or more intermediate or even expert level. And we do this through online self-paced courses, in-person training, and certifications. And I'll talk about each of these offerings in a little bit more depth. So right here we have our new 3D game kit, which is completely free. So we have 2D and 3D game kits, which are actually produced in-house. We have our own production team who's making these assets. These are prefabricated environments with projects completely free for you to download and start tampering with the tool and testing it out. So this, I just wanted to showcase one of our new 3D projects, beautiful gaming environment, and you can go ahead and start testing. Moving on to our online courses, so Unity produces some courses in-house, which is mainly around our certification preparation. And we also have partnered with some of the best learning partners, including, I'm very excited to announce our partnership with Platzi, who's based in Colombia and also Mexico City, to introduce new Spanish courses complete with local instructors. Daniela, who's here today, and Platzi as well, can talk a little bit more about the courses. So the 2D course was just released yesterday in Spanish. So I invite you all to come chat with me, Daniela, and the folks at the Platzi booth today. And we also have a number of courses that we've partnered with Udemy, Udacity, Coursera. So these are some of the new courses that have released in just the last month. These ones are in English, but we are looking to localize all of our content and continue expanding our offerings, especially for the Latin American market. So we have our Unity Game Dev courses. This is a whole series that we did with Pluralsight, and it has different tracks focused on programming, art, and design. We also published a mobile VR app development course on Coursera. This is actually Unity's own course that we produced. And a deep reinforcement learning nano degree with Udacity. So we're constantly coming out with new course offerings, as well as in-person training offerings. So we have one of our authorized training partners, KMMX, here today as well. I invite you to talk to them to increase our in-person training opportunities. So these are new offerings which will be rolling out. We have here today Alex from KMMX. So in-person training offerings to help you to continue to increase your skills. Now, a really exciting part, we have certifications. And this is actually completely a new process this year. We've released 5 new certifications, 3 at the expert level and 2 more beginner intermediate. This is really helping to close the loop with employers to showcase your skills in Unity. And we've actually changed the process to partner with Pearson, so you can go to one of the thousands of testing centers that they have across the world, or do even remote proctoring. It makes it much more accessible for you to take the certification. For those who've come to developer days in the past, you've seen it was difficult in the past to get your certification. Now you can actually take it on your own time, wherever you want, at whenever you want. So we have a new certified programmer certification, a new 3D artist certification. These are entry-level certifications. We also have our expert level certifications. Gameplay Programmer is actually out in Spanish today. By the way, all of these will be localized. We have Technical Artist Rigging and Animation, Technical Artist Shading and Effects. And we have certification prep courses to help you get prepared to actually take these exams. And all of this content will be localized as well. Today we have our Gameplay Programmer certification prep on Coursera, and we'll be releasing the rest of our certification prep courses this summer through the fall. And lastly, I want to talk about our Student Ambassador Program. So our Student Ambassador Program invites university students across the world to be doing events at their campus and help grow the Unity footprint. And so we have students across the world joining this program. If you're interested, if you're a student, please come chat with me or take a look at our Student Ambassador page to apply. And again, I invite you to come speak with me after, or Janet, also on our education team, Arturo. And we're just so excited to be here and help with the learning journey for Unity. So, gracias a todos.
Ahora un aplauso para Michael Tseng, Business Development Manager para Unity Distribution Platform.
Gracias. Buenos dias. And that's all the Spanish I know. So I'm going to be continuing in English, if that's okay. So as everyone here knows, the world's a big place. There's a lot of opportunity out there, and there's a lot of players who still haven't played your game. There's also a lot of app stores in the world that you currently aren't on, that are serving players that aren't on iOS, that aren't on Google, and aren't on Steam. So I want to pose a question to the crowd here. Why isn't your game in every app store in the world? And it's a pretty silly question, admittedly. There's a lot of real-life challenges on why you can't distribute worldwide today. I'm going to go over a couple of these challenges. The first one is time. It takes a lot of time to identify the right app stores, the ones that are actually going to make you money. It also takes time to find local publishing partners in the countries that you want to publish in that are going to make your game successful. And all in all, it just takes a lot of time. It also takes a lot of resources. Resources that take to submit your game, to actually create the game build. And then beyond that, to actually support the game past that point, and to continue supporting those games. It takes a lot of QA resources, publishing resources, etc. Lots of resources. And if a game company wants to dedicate time and resources to distributing worldwide, there's still no guarantee of you making money. So there's a very high risk with not a guaranteed reward. And when the largest companies in the world have tried this, they have found something like this, where when they distribute to third-party app stores, a lot of their revenue is still centralized under the leading app stores in the world. Like I said, iOS, Google Play, Steam, etc. So even though they're making marginal incremental revenue from third-party app stores, it's just not worth the effort they've found in the past. So because it takes the same amount of effort to maintain a third-party app store as it does to maintain a large one. But there's a lot of opportunity out there, and a great example of that is China. So China, huge opportunity. 600 million daily active users that are wanting to play games, looking for more content, and they're monetizing. And even though it's a huge opportunity, the market is very fragmented. On the left side of the screen, you're going to see a list of 10 of the top Android app stores in China. So the first thing you'll notice, there's 10 of them, not one. And the second thing you'll notice is that the one you're familiar with, Google Play, isn't on that list. Which means that if a developer or a company wants to approach 50% of the users in China, you're basically committing to having 5 more game builds, to distributing to 5 more distributing to 5 more app stores, integrating 5 more SDKs, maintaining 5 more games. That's a lot of effort, and you're still not sure if you're going to be making money, right? So while there's a lot of opportunity in places like China, there's also still a lot of risk for developers. So that's why I want to talk to you guys about a new initiative that I'm helping lead here at Unity called the Unity Distribution Platform. And that's kind of a mouthful, so I'm just going to say UDP for short. And we have a very simple mission at the UDP. We're helping developers get their games into international emerging app stores around the world by solving hard problems on the technical and the strategic business side. On the technical side, with integrating our SDK, the UDP SDK, developers will gain access to our App Store partners around the world, but with only one build of their game. On the strategic side, we're creating those partnerships on the back end with those app stores around the world. Places in China, places in India, Southeast Asia, Japan, Korea, etc., Eastern Europe. So I want to get into how this looks like for you guys, for developers. As always, developers will create their game. The only difference now is that you're going to also integrate the UDP SDK into your game. And by doing so, you will gain the ability to distribute those games through our UDP portal, where you can manage those builds. And it's as simple as turning on the games that you want, the stores that you want to distribute to, and turning off the ones you don't want to. So if you want to distribute to Google Play, you turn that on. If you want to distribute to China, you turn that on. India, you turn it on. If you don't want to distribute to Korea, you turn that off. And then it's one-click publishing from there. And it submits your build to all those stores. So to recap, we're giving you the ability to manage all your Android builds, your PC builds, in one build, rather than 3, 4, 5, 10. We're also doing the partnerships work to form those partnerships with the app stores around the world so you don't have to do that, so that you guys can distribute your games worldwide. And my favorite slide is that this is completely free for our developers. I figured that would get some applause. So, yeah, it is completely free. And the last two things I want to mention. One, I think this is a great opportunity for studios in Mexico. Studios who have thought about distributing worldwide, but haven't done it for some reason. Or studios who have thought about it and want to start thinking about it now. It's a great time, especially with Unity and what we're doing with the Unity distribution platform. The second thing is we're launching our closed beta program in mid-July. And we're looking for developer partners who are interested in trying something new. So if your studio is interested, please do find me at this conference. I'll be at the showcase, the local showcase room, during the coffee break. Please find me, and let's have a chat. Thank you. Gracias.
Hola. Hola, buenos días. Pues muchas gracias por estar aquí. Ya platicó Carl que es el Developer Day. Yo creo que en todo el mundo el más grande que hemos tenido. Entonces muchas gracias a todos por venir. Hubo gente que se quedó fuera, pero pues bueno, igual el otro año hacemos algo más grande, si quiere. Voy a hablar de un par de cosas hoy, entre ellas sobre un proyecto que hemos estado mostrando últimamente, que es Book of the Dead. ¿Alguien ya lo había visto? Levanta su mano. Ok, muchos de ustedes. Lo que voy a mostrar aquí es la versión que, dos cosas. Uno, está corriendo directamente en el editor de mi computadora, que es una laptop. Y la otra es que, bueno, está medio oscuro. Es que estos assets los pueden ustedes descargar de la Asset Store. Entonces, todo lo que ven aquí, ustedes pueden regresar a su casa y jugar con ellos. Ok. No sé, bueno, ¿ustedes creen que se ve bonito? ¿Creen que tiene buena calidad visual? ¿Sí? Bueno, a mí me emociona mucho porque hace unos 10 años cuando yo empezaba a ir a GDC y demás, veía booths de otras compañías y decía, me gustaría lograr algo así, pero pues es imposible, ¿no? Imposible tener una herramienta que me lo dejara hacer. Ahora pues ya se puede hacer de una forma súper sencilla. Los assets son para uso libre, ustedes los pueden descargar, pueden hacer con ellos pues lo que quieran. Y bueno, estos están disponibles en la Asset Store a partir de hace como una semana. Ahora voy a hablar sobre otras dos cosas. ¿Alcanzan a leer lo que dice ahí? Dice pequeño. Está medio raro porque originalmente decía small, pero pues le pusimos pequeño. No le estoy diciendo a nadie en específico, así como pequeño. ¿Quién lleva más de un año usando Unity? Levanta su mano. Ok, la mayoría. ¿Más de unos 4 años? ¿Más de 5? ¿Más de 20 años? Sí, bueno, los que levantaron la mano es mentira porque ni siquiera lleva existiendo tanto tiempo. Bueno, como saben, una de las fortalezas de Unity es que se exporta a un montón de plataformas. Ahorita son más de 30 plataformas. Sin embargo, a veces nos decían, oye, pero es que yo quiero llevar Unity a esta plataforma donde pues no puedo hacerlo porque no puede correr un engine 3D. Por eso mismo es que estamos trabajando en una versión que se llama Unity for Small Things, una versión de Unity para poder distribuir sus proyectos en plataformas como relojes, teléfonos celulares, etc. ¿Esto por qué? Porque se va a abrir o se está abriendo un negocio muy grande en lo que se llama este tipo de aplicaciones de Messenger o de mensajería instantánea. Entonces, si ustedes quieren, está disponible para descargar. Y bueno, ¿qué es lo que está detrás de todo esto? Es que ya conocemos cómo se utiliza Unity, ¿no? En este momento no queremos invertir más tiempo en buscar otra herramienta y volver a empezarlo, entonces ya tenemos esa herramienta. Otra cosa que se necesita para este tipo de juegos es que carguen muy rápido. No queremos que alguien que quiere jugar en Facebook o demás se tarde 5 o 10 minutos en descargar el contenido, ¿no? Queremos que en menos de 3 segundos ya esté pudiendo jugar. Eso es lo que está detrás, que sea fácil de integrar, como lo que hemos conocido de Unity en otras partes, y que la monetización pues, sea fluida, que no nos tengamos que preocupar en miles de SDKs ni nada de eso. Okay, entonces estamos trabajando en una versión más pequeña, más ligera y más rápida de Unity. Si ustedes quieren saber más, bueno, se puede para 2D y 3D, perdón, no es solamente 2D. Ya hay algunas herramientas similares, pero solamente se dedican para 2D. Unity para cosas pequeñas se va a poder hacer. Y nada más esta imagen es para que se den una idea de hacia dónde queremos llegar. Los tableros de los automóviles, pues en algún momento van a necesitar cosas más avanzadas, ¿no? Y meter ahí un Unity completo, el Unity que corre Book of the Dead, probablemente no sea la mejor idea, por eso es que estamos trabajando con esta versión. La otra cosa, y estos dos temas los elegí porque creo que son súper relevantes para nuestro país, nuestra región, es el tema de la nube. ¿Qué se refiere esto del tema de la nube? ¿Todos están haciendo juegos? Levanten su mano, ¿quién está haciendo juegos? ¿O quién quiere hacer juegos? Ok, luego bájenla. ¿Quién está usando Unity para cosas que no son juegos? Ok, mucha gente. Ok, en esto me voy a centrar en la parte de juegos, pero también hay contenido para gente que está trabajando en Unity para otras cosas. Ok, está este concepto de juegos conectados o connected games que vamos a empezar a ver más, y pues recientemente anunciamos una alianza con Google para mejorar la oferta que damos para que ustedes hagan juegos conectados. Y es que el tema aquí es que ahorita los juegos, y aquí son los números que respaldan esto, los juegos que más monetizan, los juegos que más se ven, son juegos que tienen algún componente de ser juegos conectados. Es decir, desde que tengan un leaderboard, que tengan una forma de hacer amigos, de que puedan jugar multiplayer en tiempo real, que puedan jugar multiplayer asíncrono, lo que sea, la gente quiere jugar ese tipo de juegos, ¿no? Y esos números son los que, por ejemplo, aquí dice que el 90% de los juegos más vistos en Twitch son juegos que están conectados de una u otra forma. Hacer juegos multiplayer es complicado. No sé si alguien ha intentado hacer un juego multijugador en tiempo real. Levante su mano. ¿Ha sido fácil? ¿No? Es complicado, ¿no? Porque de por sí hacer juegos a veces es complicado. Ahora aumentar la complejidad de que va a ser un juego distribuido y que no vamos a saber si se desconecta a las personas, pues lo que nosotros queremos es resolver ese problema, que ustedes puedan hacer juegos conectados sin la necesidad de hacer pues tanto trabajo. Esto lo que nosotros traemos, la alianza Google con Unity, es que traemos toda la experiencia, la infraestructura y las operaciones para que ustedes se dediquen solamente a hacer el juego y no en pensar cosas de cuántos servidores tengo que levantar, cosas así. Okay, entonces, junto con esta alianza también anunciamos un proyecto open source para hacer matchmaking, que también es uno de los problemas más complejos al momento de hacer juegos multiplayer. Cómo encontrar que alguien juegue con otra persona. Y no es nada más poner un lobby y ponerlos a jugar juntos, porque si se fijan, pues los juegos pues más populares multiplayer, el matchmaking es donde uno decide a dónde voy a poner a jugar a esta persona para que no entre a una partida y pierda luego, ¿no? Porque juegue con alguien muy poderoso. Ese es un problema, entonces estamos anunciando este proyecto. Si quieren saber más sobre esto, aquí está la liga. Estamos buscando pues beta testers para este programa. Entonces, los invito a que lo visiten. Y ahora les voy a dar la bienvenida a nuestra speaker invitada. Ella, pues la conocí hace un año más o menos en Guadalajara. Ella viene de una empresa que se llama Wizeline. Y lo que ella nos va a contar hoy es la parte más de negocios, ¿no? Que a veces se nos olvida a nosotros cómo es que vamos a hacer dinero de estos proyectos que estamos desarrollando. Entonces me gustaría darle un aplauso a Wendy y Johansson de Wizeline.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for having me. Thank you for the warm intro and great talk, Unity staff. My name is Wendy Johansson. I am a co-founder of a company called Wizeline, and we are a global software company based in Guadalajara, as well as many other places. And I'll tell you a little more about that. My background is actually in user experience design. So for you game designers out there, I completely understand where you're coming from. Before I got into user experience design, I thought that I actually wanted to do more graphic and visual design and move into 3D modeling. But my career at university, I went to UC San Diego, and I studied something called cognitive science. So cognitive science is kind of these 4 things. We have the brain, studying and understanding neuroscience and the connections that make everything happen and the reactions that you have. Behavior, computation, and culture. So bringing all that together really focuses on things like artificial intelligence, human-computer interaction, as well as traditional design. After I left college a bit over a decade ago, I worked at 4 different startups. So for me, I'm very much a startup junkie, very much into the Silicon Valley culture, getting in early on companies, moving very quickly. And the 4 companies I was at before Wizeline, one of them was called Veo, and that was in 2004 and 5, and that was before YouTube was YouTube. So user-generated video content wasn't very big online. The idea of watching video online wasn't very popular, but I worked at a company called Veo, and then I worked at a company called Looped, which before smartphones came out, we actually were building a location social mobile app on flip phones, so people could check in and tell their friends what they were doing and where they are. And back in 2006, people said, that's crazy. Why would you share that much information with your friends? And look what we're doing today. And then I worked at a video company called Uyala. So after going B2C, I moved to B2B, working in business-to-business enterprise companies. At Uyala, in 2007, we were building a video platform because our hypothesis was that everyone was going to be watching video on their computers, on set-top boxes, on their mobile phones. And again, people said, that's crazy. Why do people want to watch a video on their phones? People aren't going to stare at their screens all day. Look where we are again today. And then I moved on to an advertising technology company in New York called AppNexus. And that was a lot of fun, but definitely, probably the nerdiest startup I had been at. A lot of mathematicians, a lot of people working on algorithms, a lot of really hardcore coders. So if I'm going to tell my startup story, I got to tell you the truth of what happened. B2C companies didn't really work out for me. Both of those companies just kind of crashed and burned. Nothing really big happened with them. With Uyala, we sold ourselves to an Australian telco for about $500 million. And at AppNexus, actually last week, a couple days ago, announced that AT&T was acquiring them for $1.6 billion. So kind of did okay here and there, but what I learned was business to business certainly was much more interesting and where all the money goes. So in October 2013, I left with a couple of folks from Uyala that I had worked with, and we started a company called Wizeline. Our CEO, Bismarck Lepe, is actually from Guadalajara. His family grew up there. All his aunts and uncles are still there. And so a couple of years into Uyala, we opened a professional services office in Guadalajara. So our team there built out the iPad experiences for things like ESPN, the US Open, and other sporting events for their live video streaming. And when we started Wizeline, we thought Guadalajara was so great, our team was so talented, why not start a startup day one in Guadalajara? So in October 2013, we started Wizeline. Today, Wizeline is a global company, but we still have our largest office in Guadalajara, Mexico. We have an office here in Mexico City. And what we do is we build software for global companies like Nike, the Wall Street Journal, Unity, my personal favorite, Disney, Audi, and Coca-Cola. So we're building different experiences for their consumers, for their users. We've built some really interesting technology. For example, we did the algorithm for a wearable where you could actually trace the football players and see how they're performing. Do they need more saline? Do they need a certain type of composition because of how they're sweating and how they're working out? And being able to make recommendations to those football teams about what they should be consuming. As I mentioned, today Wizeline is global. About 4.5 years later, we still have San Francisco and Guadalajara. We opened Mexico City, I think about 2 years ago. Next Monday, we're opening our Querétaro office. We also have an office in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, as well as going into Europe in 2019. So there's been quite a bit of growth in the last 4 years. But the number one question I keep getting asked is, why Mexico? Why no San Francisco? Why no Brazil? I get this question all the time, especially when I'm on airplanes coming down. And oftentimes people mistaken me for a student because of the hair. And like, oh, are you going to go study in Mexico? Like, no, I run a business there. I'm very, very old. I want to give you a couple of stats on why we chose Mexico. First off, proximity. From Silicon Valley, Mexico is only a 3.5-hour flight to Guadalajara, about 4.5 hours to Mexico City. So this is what most companies call nearshoring. The idea of nearshoring is you're working with a company that's very much in your time zone. So we're only 2 hours ahead of San Francisco. And it's a short distance. So oftentimes our teams, our clients, our partners, they fly back and forth and visit. So it's very easy and quite inexpensive. And for ease of doing business, Mexico actually ranks number 48 in the world based on the World Bank. And that's way above Brazil and India, which people typically think of when they think building software products. So one stat here I find interesting is it only takes 14 days, so 2 weeks, 2 business weeks, to start up a brand new business, get your licenses, open finance accounts, everything in Mexico. Specifically, in Guadalajara is 14 days. I don't know if it's different in the state of Mexico, but that's very, very fast and very easy to say, hey, now I have a new business. Second, education. You have a lot of fantastic universities in Mexico, and you're graduating a lot of very talented software developers, engineers, and the like. We partner with Tec de Monterrey at Wizeline, for example, and we actually work with a lot of different graduates also from our local universities, University de Guadalajara, ITESO, UNAM over here, as well as other folks in the other cities. In Jalisco alone, $21 billion comes out of that state, and that is all just technology and services. So $21 billion, basically, of software. That is huge, coming just from one state alone. I couldn't find a stat for the whole of Mexico, but considering that there's so many states and there's so many other cities, this is pretty impressive. Again, proper to Guadalajara, when we're looking at investments, so if you have all this technology and services being exported from Jalisco, for example, where's the money going back in to create new businesses, new startups, new entrepreneurial spirits? We have about $120 million of investment that went into 300 startups in Guadalajara alone over the course of 2014 to 2016. So that's 300 new startups that started. For example, we have companies like Rappi, and Kueski, and a bunch of other companies. So people are focused on consumer delivery. Kueski is a fintech and microloans service. And all these great companies are just coming out of Guadalajara. So again, I couldn't find stats for all of Mexico here, but that's a pretty big number just in 2 years. And it's only grown exponentially into 2018. We've seen an increase of about 9% in software jobs in Mexico. What I find interesting about that is while the software jobs are increasing, you have this kind of brain drain happening in Mexico. You have really great software engineers graduating from places like UNAM, Tec de Monterrey, but they're actually leaving and they're going to the United States. They're going to Europe, they're going to Asia. They're working at companies like Facebook, Google, and maybe even Unity. And they're taking off and leaving. And so we call that the brain drain for Mexico. And one of the things that we wanted to focus on with Wizeline was to open a company that was exciting enough, challenging enough, and very much that kind of entrepreneurial Silicon Valley spirit enough that people wanted to stay in Mexico and continue building the ecosystem here. So with that, I'll jump into Wizeline. We are a global software startup, and I'll tell you a little more about how we've done that. So the first thing about building a global company is you have to think like a global company. For us, that was pretty easy. We are several different folks coming from a lot of different places. The 4 of the co-founders, one of them's a PhD in physics coming out of UC Berkeley. One of them, as I mentioned, his whole family's from Guadalajara, but he today lives in San Francisco with his wife and children. And then one of them, Vidal Gonzalez, he's our CTO. He's a Tapatio. He's been born and raised in Guadalajara, and he's never left. And then there's myself. No matter how much of a tan I get, nobody ever mistakes me for Mexican, but that's certainly something that adds the diversity to our culture. So for example, we have Salsa and Daphne. They're 2 engineers at our company, and Salsa is actually from Egypt, and she moved here with her family, and recently actually had a child in Mexico. And she's been able to introduce a bunch of her friends from Egypt to come work at Wizeline in Guadalajara. And today, our staff is about 15% international. So we have people coming from France, Belgium, I think, and we have Argentina, Brazil, Canada, Vietnam, China, United States, the usual, but 15% of our staff in Guadalajara is international. And we believe that that's one of the core pieces of building a global startup is you have global staff. You have people thinking about, if we're building this product for a customer in the United States or a customer in Europe or a customer in Australia, how are we actually going to think about how people think of user experiences there? How do we communicate with the client there? So having a diversity of culture, of thinking, of knowledge is really, really important to bringing that into a global company. Second is collaboration. Everybody talks about collaboration. If we get in a big room and we all talk together, is that collaboration? Maybe not. Maybe it's just a waste of time with a lot of people in a meeting and not actually getting anything done. So for us, collaboration is mixing all the processes and methodologies that different teams brings. So for example, marketing may have a certain way of doing things. They really love using a Trello board because they hate using Jira, which is too technical for them. The design team brought design thinking into the company. And we have developers who are thinking more agile, sprints and scrums. So we have a lot of different people thinking in a lot of different ways that are typically very siloed to their roles. But what we do in collaboration is, for example, we've applied design thinking to how our engineering team works together. So when they're solving problems, it's not really sitting down and saying, everybody code really hard and see what works, like what builds. We actually use design thinking, and we've taught our team that so that they can actually come down to what is the core problem we're trying to solve, what are different ways to solve this, and how do we actually break this down so different people can work on different pieces of this and then come back together and have a much more unique, innovative solution. Third, very much like Unity, we believe in education. So I run something called Wizeline Academy, and with Wizeline Academy, what we've done is we've taken the kind of global knowledge of our team, people who have gone abroad and gotten their PhDs for data science and come back, people who have gone to University College of London and studied human-computer interaction and come back. So all of this collective knowledge, we actually give back to our communities. So this is actually how I met Unity a couple of years ago, is we ran a Wizeline Academy event in Guadalajara. We invited a couple of folks down, including Caro and Arturo, and they gave a talk on design in VR. And with this kind of talk and education into our communities, we are inspiring people to kind of reach out beyond what they know, beyond what they have to do at work, and beyond what's offered to them in their communities. With our links to Silicon Valley, we've been able to bring down folks from Google, Apache Beam, YouTube, some DevOps shops. We're going to be bringing down folks from Scala and Spark to teach data engineering. So we're bringing those trending technologies from Silicon Valley to Mexico and teaching it to our communities for free. We highly believe that education is how people are going to continue to succeed. So if we, as a software company, are only taking all of that knowledge internally and we're not giving it back to the community, we're not building our ecosystem. So we really believe in building our ecosystem to be able to succeed as a company. Because without an ecosystem, you're not going to have a lot of competition, you're not going to have people aiming to become better, and you're not going to have that kind of collective knowledge of improving and iterating on ourselves. So one of the most obvious pieces on having a global team, they kind of have to get together. So we have our whole team from around the world visiting our different offices often. We have offsites. So for example, earlier on in the company, we were only about, I see about 15, 20 people here. We would do offsites at Lake Chapala, which is really close to Guadalajara. And it was really good for us to get together as a team and really get to know each other. So for example, in this photo, we have some sales and marketing folks who never really talked to the developers. But when we got together on these offsites, they built connections and bonds that they normally wouldn't. We also offer programs today that really help our team have that kind of global presence within our company. We have a work abroad program. So today we have engineers from our Mexico offices spending 3 months in San Francisco. So they get to really know the culture, they get to go to the meetups, they get to know our more sales, product, marketing teams up in San Francisco, and really get to exchange that knowledge and again, build those bonds because once they go home, they're still talking to each other on Slack, they still have the jokes that they made and the memories that they formed. On top of all the visits that we have, we also believe in a lot of cultural exchange. So, you know, if you've worked at a company where you have another office in another country, they have a holiday, and they may tell you, okay, we're off next Wednesday because it's July 4th in the US. What is July 4th? And so we like to share stories about these holidays around the world so people really understand. And we recently, for example, celebrated the Lunar New Year, which a lot of Asia celebrates, but we did it in our Mexico office. And we gave everybody the little red lucky money envelopes and helped them understand what all that meant. So we're exchanging our kind of cultural knowledge and our celebrations so that we can get to know each other better and better understand the things that we're doing. But all of that, as a company, it also means we have a lot of process. Oftentimes when people think startup, they think anti-process. At a startup, they think everybody's just running and doing stuff and there's chaos and magic comes out. But that's not actually how you succeed. How you succeed is you let that chaos kind of run track and then you say, this is where the chaos produced good results. Let's try to turn that into a repeatable process and see if we can continue to get good results out of that more structured methodology. So with Wizeline, we have something called the Wizeline Way. That really covers everything from our communication, how we email each other, our inclusion and anti-harassment policy, the way that we work with our product development teams. We use true Agile. We work with our teams in certain tools and processes. And anytime anyone joins Wizeline in their first week of onboarding, they get all of this knowledge that they immediately forget and all the names of everybody they met, but it's there and available for them so that they understand the standard that they've walked into in working at this global company. And finally, you can't have a global company unless you have global customers. So what's important to us is we have a diversity of customers around the world that actually have similar ethos to the things that we believe in as a company. So for example, when we work with Unity, I very much love working with Unity because we both believe heavily in democratizing knowledge and education. And so for me, that's very important for us to work with companies that understand why we exist and we understand why they're building and what they exist for. So that's really important, and it's also a bit difficult. You know, you can go around and find a lot of customers, but at some point you get to the state of your company where you can start saying no to customers that don't fall within your ethos and your values. And so I believe we're there today with Wizeline. We can start saying no to customers and companies we don't believe in, but that's actually kind of built that elite brand around the people that we work with. They're building the best products globally, as well as the people that we hire. They're interested in working with global teams, potentially working abroad, being able to talk to people from different cultures and nations every single day. So that's what we've done today at Wizeline. I welcome any questions, but also welcome you to check out academy.wizeline.com. As I mentioned, we have a lot of free courses that we teach in technologies, as well as some Unity courses that some of our partners come teach. So if you're interested, then check it out, and you can sign up for our newsletter. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Wendy. Bueno, ya casi vamos a terminar. Antes que nada, me gustaría presentar a la persona que hace posible el Developer Day, que se encarga de todo, su equipo. Ella, Ashley y Jessica hacen que esto crezca cada año, entonces un aplauso fuerte para Ashley.
Okay. Buenos días a todos. It's so great to see you all here today. Los que están aquí que ya me conozcan sepan que yo voy entre español e inglés, perdón. Pero bienvenido de nuevo a Unity Developer Day México. Es un placer tener todos ustedes aquí con nosotros hoy para este gran evento. Este evento es muy especial para mí porque cuando yo empecé en Unity, este evento fue mi primer trabajo grande que tuve que hacer. Y como dijeron antes, empezamos con 250 personas y ahora tenemos todos ustedes aquí. Y en verdad es un honor hacer este evento para ustedes. Y en verdad agradezco mucho su apoyo por estar aquí compartiendo con nosotros y espero que ustedes disfruten el evento. Yo voy a dejar ustedes con un poco de detalles sobre el evento. Primero que nada, si van a tomar una foto de un slide en esta presentación, debe ser esta. Este enlace es para toda la información del evento. Aquí vas a tener la agenda, información sobre los speakers, los juegos del showcase y más. Y es en on.unity.com/ddmx18. Ahí vas a encontrar toda la información. Y como ves en la agenda, ves que tenemos un grupo increíble de oradores en este evento. Y en esa página de web puedes enterar de qué son las charlas, de qué se tratan y quiénes son los speakers. Y también tenemos una selección de juegos hecho con Unity aquí en México que está en el área del showcase.